My wife doesn't want to be married anymore. My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation, and I'm going to try to help you with this. First, let me read a email that was sent to our counselors. We have a free service at the Marriage Foundation, and you could engage with them. You could find that on our website at themarriagefoundation.org. And let's see what Tim has to say. I changed the name, but it's still relevant. So, just recently found your site, started reading Breaking the Cycle, which is one of the books that I've written, and so far I am finding both very beneficial to my current situation. I am active duty U.S. military, thank you very much, and have been married to my wife for 4 years. About a month ago, she dropped that she wants a legal separation due to her loss in trust and years of hurt that I have caused her. And kudos to Tim for acknowledging that he has this clarity now. I've been living on my own for approximately 2 weeks now and have been attending counseling for my issues once a week for the past 4 to 5 weeks. We have also been attending a marriage counselor and attended our 4th session together this week, which is where she proclaimed that she, quote unquote, doesn't want to be married anymore. I'm really just looking for some advice. And so far, your book has been extremely helpful. Thanks for your time. And I'm going to address a few things here. For starters, it's very difficult if you're already separated and your wife has disengaged from the marriage as his wife has. It's very difficult to regain your marriage. Now, maybe there's some people who will tell you differently. I've been doing this for some 20 years, and I have trained many counselors, and my experience and their experience is that when the wife is done, out of the house, none of us have ever seen a wife come back. So the question is, what should I do? And some men go, well, if that's it, that's it. And I think that's a big mistake, because you're not done with your life. Perhaps your marriage is going to be terminated, but your life is going to go on. You have a lot of future in front of you. And it doesn't matter how old you are. We have seen these cases where men are in their 60s. I say the same thing. You have a life in front of you. We should look back not with regret so much or guilt, because those will weigh us down. But we should look back for errors that have stolen our happiness, stolen opportunities for happiness. Because if life isn't about being happy, what is it about? And clearly, Tim and those who are in similar situations have not done what it has taken to be happy in their marriage or in their own life. Because when your wife leaves, it's not like she's leaving someone who is fun to be with and happy. Let's put aside all the mistakes that you're making, that you've made, and just take a look at yourself. Do you want to be around somebody who is not happy? And they don't teach us these things growing up. They simply don't tell you what your purpose in life should be. No one says that, because if you say that, then you're really torn between two distinct possibilities. One is material and the other is spiritual, isn't it? And in this world, there's this paranoia about talking about anything that even sounds like it might be spiritual. You get crucified. So what ends up happening is they leave it up to kids, including you when you were a kid, in terms of what you're going to choose in life. And they only discuss things, if they even go there, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be happy. But I didn't know that was the answer when I was a kid. Should be the answer. Should be the universal answer is I want to be happy. And then discussion can come out of that in terms of, how do I achieve happiness? I, as an individual. Why does that affect your marriage? Because nobody wants to be around a psychological skunk. Nobody wants to be around someone who's miserable. And you get married, clearly, you get married in order to be happier. No one even talks about that. So really, what is the problem here and what can you do about it? Now you're thinking, well, I told you what my problem is. My problem is my wife wants to end my marriage. And I candidly, maybe hurtfully, I'm sorry about that, have shared with you that the chances of reconciliation are slim to none, based on experience and also based on various principles that have to do with how women think/feel. And when they make a big move in their own mind, what are the chances of them changing their mind? Because we're not talking about changing your mind for some daily little thing. We're talking about a big thing. And women, and you could call me misogynistic if you want, I'm not. Women, once they've made up their mind to leave, what's really happened is there's a shift in their heart. Very different than men. Men calculate, they weigh, they think things through, they consider, they evaluate the pros and the cons. Women don't do that. Women feel. Then they find the pros and the cons intellectually to support the decision that they've already made in their heart. Now, I can tell you what you did wrong. It won't be what your wife tells you you did wrong. Number one, what you did wrong was you used your masculine power, your strength, on her instead of to protect her. And it came across in how you addressed her, how you spoke to her, how you thought of her, considered her needs. You were not there for her at the most basic level that is biologically induced, which is your role, your assigned role based on biology as a protector. Under that umbrella, you disregarded her. You became overfamiliar, you became used to her, and you stopped treating her like the queen who you promised to do that, and you stopped. It's very easy. It's a slippery slope that begins with the first time you went, when she spoke to you, instead of going, What can I do for you, honey? It was, or something along those lines. So now you're at a crossroad. And I'm telling you that you have a big choice in your life. You could take this as a wake-up call. Now, Tim read the book, and it gave him a lot of insight into what he did wrong. But what he really should be doing is a self-help program. And there's a lot out there. Our self-help program, and it's called the Course for Men. The Marriage Course for Men is distinctly a self-help program that is tailored to help a man see himself in the context of a marriage. But it's not the only way there is to resolve your own issues, to restructure, redefine yourself. In our course, it's defined for you to become happy. That's the first step. You learn the rules of marriage. And there's other people out there who know. There's a lot who don't, who push marriage help and they have no idea what they're talking about. But there are some good ones out there. And they talk about sort of the guardrails of how to behave in a marriage. Those are important. But those don't hold unless you learn. And here's something that pretty much no one else does. And that is, you have to learn how to control your mind, how to recognize how your mind works, because it's like a machine. Your mind works the same way my mind works, and the same way other men's minds work, which is different than how women's minds work. I mean, not in a big scale, but you need to learn how your mind works as a man. You need to learn how to catch the triggers. You need to learn how to change. Because what is a mind? Who are you? You might say you're a bundle of your thoughts, your habits, your instinctive reactions. That's who you are to others. Now we know that who and what you are is actually a soul who has a mind, has a body, but you're a soul. The problem is, we're not even taught that. So we don't have a context. We don't have a perspective with which we're able to change ourselves. And so that's the very first step. So basically, you're at a crossroads. Do you condemn her? Do you condemn yourself? Do you condemn outer circumstances? Or do you take this as a wake-up call and go, wait a minute. This guy Paul is telling me I can be happy in spite of the fact that my wife has left me. And I don't mean to be cruel, but you are going to move on. But don't move on the same way you got into the mess that you got into. Change yourself. Redefine yourself, not based on how I want you to be or how someone else wants you to be, but how you perceive that you should be. But you need to first learn how to even look at yourself the way you should be. Now, it's old school stuff. Not old school in the United States. Our culture is very materialistic. You are defined by your job. You are defined, in Tim's case, by the fact that he's in the military. What are you? Well, I am in the military. Your first response should be, I am a soul, and I have a mind, and I have a body. And I want to be like this. I want my character to be noble. I want my demeanor to be loving, appreciative, humor-filled, I want to be recognized as a positive person with high integrity. You can change yourself. There's this myth in the world. It's starting to rain, so I apologize for any background noise. There's a myth in the world that you can't change yourself. You're basically who you are, and that's who you are, and that's nonsense. I almost used a different word, but it's not true. You have free will, and you can utilize that free will and volition, which is free will in action, to become who and what you wish to be. So the first step should be, and I'm only telling you what we should have learned when we were kids, you should be happy. Then you got to go, what will make me happy? Sure, having the right occupation, having the right level of abundance causes some happiness, but it's not deep happiness because it leaves out the fact that you, just by the fact that you know what love is, defines you as much more than a material person. You're a soul, you're spiritual, and you have the God-given right to experience love at the highest level, with or without a partner. Chances are you'll have another partner. For men, it's almost a given. There are more women out there wanting partners than men, because even though women leave their marriages, they don't know what to leave for. They usually find a man just like what you are now, that frankly did not do what was required, basic stuff, to hold your wife's loving interest. Because isn't that what you want in marriage? Don't you want your wife to love you unconditionally? It's possible. It's not only possible, but when you know what you're doing, it's going to happen. Get rid of any resentment. Get rid of any depression. And I developed a technique for this. It's called the SO technique. And it's in the course for men, and it's also in the book, but it's not as emphasized. Use the SO technique to recondition your mind into what it's supposed to be. It is, after all, your mind. So the bottom line answer, which sucks, is your wife's probably not coming back. You could put effort into it, but any direct effort you put into getting her to come back is going to push her away even more. Guaranteed. But the effort that might attract her back down the road is the effort you put into changing yourself into the man she thought she married originally. That is the effort you ought to be making now, whether you have her back or not. And I'm all for never give up. It's my expression. Now, I use it primarily to change myself. Not a day goes by. In fact, it's a schedule for me. Every morning, I wake up and I introspect. How did I behave? And I go over what happened the day before, the week before, the month before. And this morning, I realized I had done something to somebody when I was 12 years old. So deep is my habit of introspection. And I realized that was literally a turning point in my life that I need to be aware of and change. So as an individual, I think it's an obligation for us to work on ourselves. I'm not saying you have to work on yourself. It's my obligation to work on myself, and I think it's a good idea to consider it an obligation for you, if you so choose, to work on yourself. Because we are evolutionary creatures and we should evolve, and it doesn't just happen. We have to take responsibility for it. So you had a simple question. What do I do? My wife is leaving me. And I've given you a really long answer. And that's how I do it. Why? Because the simple answer sucks. And the long answer gives you hope for the future, gives you something you can actually do to recreate, to create a much better future for yourself. If you'd like to hear more about marriage, by all means, subscribe to this channel. Share this with friends. Like it. Leave a comment. But I wish you only the best. We're here for you. The Marriage Foundation is nonprofit. Nobody gets paid when you take the course for men, but it's definitely something you ought to consider. I'm sorry for what you're going through. I pray for you. God bless you. And take care.